Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be another declutter video. Today I'm going to be decluttering my blushes, bronzers, and highlighters. So I already did all of my lipsticks in another video, so I will have my declutter playlist linked down below because this is kind of like a series I've been doing. So I'm slowly but surely making my way through my whole collection and kind of just wanting to get my collection down to a more reasonable size. So I really hope you enjoy this video. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So sorry if this setup is a little bit weird. I hope the lighting is okay, but it's kind of an awkward setup with the tripod to try to make it so you guys can see into this drawer with me. But these are all of my blushes, highlighters, and bronzers. So I'm just gonna be going through these, and I think the first thing I'm gonna do is take everything out of the drawer. Okay, so I'm going to start with blushes, so I'm just going to lay out all of my blushes so you guys can see a bit better. So I also just went and got the few blushes that were in my bathroom that are in projects and things like that. So I also pulled out my single blushes that are in palettes like this just to compare and see what I have. This does not include face palettes, obviously. I'm going to make face palettes a whole nother video. And just so you know, I have these two palettes of singles that are all from ColourPop. And then the other like single magnetic blush palette I have is my blushes from Makeup Geek. So these will just be sitting off to the side for me to reference if I need those. So first, the blushes that are in projects, I think I'm obviously going to keep because I kind of need those to reference back to. And I do like these three blushes, especially the Cover FX one is one of my favorites. And I really do enjoy this Laura Geller one as well. It's a little bit more luminous and glowy. And then this Milani one is also really pretty. It's in the shade Luminoso. So I'm just going to set these. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I guess I'll just set those there for now. And then I have these two Flower Beauty blushes. This is hard because I want to keep all of these, but I feel like some of them are similar. So actually, let's just start with the stuff I know I'm going to keep. So these are all of my cream blushes. I have the Flower Beauty Blush Balm. I actually have another one of these in my bathroom that I forgot to grab, but I know I'm definitely going to keep these. And then I have a couple Nude Sticks blushes, which I also have another one of these in my bathroom. But I know I'm going to keep those because I don't have too many cream blush options. And then I also have this one from Pixi in the shade Baby Petal. And I haven't gotten much use out of this, and I know I definitely want to keep this. And then I just have my three ColourPop cream blushes. This is just the packaging that I got with the other set, but I just kept the three blushes because the highlighters in the ColourPop collection I don't like, so I just kept all the cream blushes and decluttered the cream highlighters from ColourPop. But I do really enjoy these as well. So I know I'm keeping those, so we'll leave those there for now. Now these Wet n Wild blushes are pretty new to my collection, but Wet n Wild is not cruelty free, sadly. I am working on getting my collection mostly down to a cruelty free collection. But these are pretty much brand new and I haven't really used them. So I feel like I do want to keep them and get more use out of them. So these two ColourPop blushes, I did recently declutter all of my ColourPop products because, as you know, they dry out very quickly. And this one is pretty old. This is in the shade Prenup, but the one in the shade Aphrodisiac is pretty new. So I think I am going to declutter Prenup just because it's so old, even though it's not dried out yet. But I also feel like this isn't the most unique. I have other blushes here that are similar, like this one and this one. So I am going to be decluttering this. This Note blush I got in a BoxyCharm, and I feel like I thought it was a unique shade, but I'm not really sure because this is sort of similar, even though this is more deep. But I feel like this would be better on deeper skin tones as well. And this is just sort of a lighter version of that, so I feel like I might actually declutter this. I don't use it very often. As you can see, I've really never touched it, so I am going to declutter this. Now these 4 Clinique blushes are really, really pretty, and I know Clinique is not cruelty free, but these are pretty new to my collection. I got them all off of Poshmark, so I didn't pay full price for them, so I definitely am going to keep these even though they're not cruelty free, but I've already purchased them, so I mean there's no point in decluttering them, and I do really love them. I have 2 of these Essence Satin Touch blushes, and I really love these as well. They're more obviously of a satin finish. They're not super matte, but they're also not really glowy. They're just a perfect in between, so I am going to keep these as well. These are pretty similar to the Clinique formula, actually, because the Clinique one is also kind of that satin finish. So if you want kind of a dupe for the formula, not necessarily the color, this is a good option. Now this Pretty Vulgar blush I also got in a BoxyCharm, and I think I've used it a couple times, but I don't know. I feel like some of these are kind of similar, but then again, they're also kind of different. This Wet n Wild one is actually pretty similar to this Flower Beauty one, even though this one's a lot lighter. But I don't know. This is hard. I feel like I might actually declutter this Wet n Wild one, maybe. I don't have many really peachy blushes though, but actually I'm gonna compare. So I also have this more orange toned blush right here from ColourPop. This was in the Kathleen Lights collection, and that one's actually pretty unique and more orange toned, so I don't know. I feel like I also never really reach for these peachy tones, so I think I'm just gonna declutter this Wet n Wild one. And while I'm at it, I kind of also want to declutter this one just because it's not the most unique shade. And again, Wet n Wild is not cruelty free, so I actually am gonna declutter both of these Wet n Wild blushes. This Pretty Vulgar one, I don't know, I feel like it's not very unique, but I do really like Pretty Vulgar. Actually, this one from Makeup Geek is actually very similar to this Pretty Vulgar shade. This is in the shade Heartthrob, so I'm pretty sure that these are still available as well. So I am just gonna declutter the Pretty Vulgar one because I feel like I won't reach for that one. So I think we got it down to a pretty good size now. I feel like I am happy with this. For the most part, I kind of want to declutter this, but then again, I decluttered a lot more than I thought I was going to, so let me just compare this. Because I feel like these Makeup Geek shades are pretty similar. I don't know, I almost just want to declutter all of these Makeup Geek blushes just because they're in a palette, so I don't know how much I will use them. But I think I will also include these palettes in my face palette declutter just to compare them to other blushes I have. So I think I am going to keep all of these single blushes for now. So that's pretty good. I decluttered more than I thought I was going to. I decluttered 5 blushes, and I really didn't think I was even going to declutter that many, but both of the Wet n Wild ones in the shade Keep It Peachy and Mellow Wine, and then the Pretty Vulgar blush in the shade Hush Blush, and then the ColourPop blush in the shade Prenup, and then the Note blush in the shade Desert Rose. So that is pretty good for now. I am slowly but surely culling my collection down and getting it to a more reasonable size. So I'm just gonna put these aside, and at the end I will organize everything together. Okay, so these are all of my highlighters. So I guess first I'll start with the ones I know I don't want to declutter. So we have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlight, and I'm definitely not getting rid of this. This is a beautiful highlight, and it's one of my favorites, and obviously it's high-end, so I'm gonna keep it. And I'm just gonna put these up here even though you guys can't see them, but I also have here the Jaclyn Hill Brighten Up Luminous powder, and this is like a finishing powder, but if you build it up, it can be a pretty intense highlight, so I do really love this, and obviously this is a more luxury item, so I'm gonna keep it. Now I have this Wet n Wild highlight, which is super old. This is one of the like iconic products. If you watched YouTube way back in the day, everyone talked about this. It's in the shade Hollywood Boulevard, I think. I don't even know if this is still available, but it's super old. I'm just going to declutter it because I never reached for it. And then I have this Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, which is like an iconic product everyone talks about. So I'm going to be keeping this, and this is currently in one of my projects right now. And then there's this Benefit High Beam Highlighter, which came in one of those little gift sets with a bunch of samples a long time ago. I probably got this years ago, so I am just going to declutter it. There's not too much product left, and I just can't be bothered with trying to finish this, so I'm just going to declutter this little sample size. Now I have these ColourPop Super Shock Cheeks, and I also recently decluttered a bunch of these. They weren't necessarily dried out, they were just shades that I never used, so I am going to be keeping these two. And then this is a sort of a dupe for the ColourPop Super Shock highlights. This is from Space Case Cosmetics, and it's in the shade Seen from Space, and it's a really pretty, more unique highlight. And I did get this in a BoxyCharm, so that's kind of how I discovered this, but I'm definitely going to be keeping these. Now these Wet n Wild highlights, again, Wet n Wild is not cruelty free, and also I don't understand why people rave so much about these. I feel like they're nothing special really. I don't know, I just didn't really, like, they're alright. I didn't love the way they looked on my skin for some reason. Something just like throws me off about them, so I am going to declutter these just because I never reach for them, and they're also not cruelty free. Now these two Essence, I use them as highlighters, but they're actually eyeshadows in the shades Apricotta and Rosy Flamingo. I do really love these. This is a more pink tone shade, and then this is a more champagne gold shade, so I do really love these as highlighters. I also have this Nude Sticks highlighter in the shade Hey Honey, and this is too deep for me, but I'm hoping in the summertime it will work, so I need to try this out soon and find out if it actually does work when I'm a little bit more tanned, and then if not, I will end up decluttering it. But this is pretty new to my collection, so I just want to use it a few more times and see if I can make it work for me, so I am going to keep this for now. Then I have this Benefit What's Up Little highlighter. This was in my sample project pan, which I ended, but as you can see, this is just a highlighter stick, so I do really enjoy this product, but Benefit is not cruelty free. But I am still going to be keeping this. As you can see, I mean, I have used a lot of this. This used to be like out to here, so I have gotten a lot of use out of this product, and eventually I'm hoping I will be able to finish this up. So I'm going to keep this, maybe to put in a project pan in the future. Then I have this Laura Geller highlight in the shade Gilded Honey. This is like, used to be an iconic product back in the day. And I did get this in a set off of Poshmark. It was like a set of a bunch of sample size highlighters. So I was really interested to try this out, and I'm definitely going to be keeping this. I haven't used it very much so far, so I do want to get a lot more use out of this. Then I have this little e.l.f. highlighter in the shade Blush Gems, and I used this a couple of times. Honestly, it's nothing special really. It's like an average, pretty subtle highlight, so I am just going to declutter this. I never reach for it. Then I have this Laura Mercier highlighter in the shade 01, and this is like supposed to be a matte highlighter, so it's just really subtle. But I do enjoy this, and I am going to keep it for now. Then I have this loose highlighter from Wet n Wild in the shade I'm So Lit. And obviously this is a loose highlighter, so it is super intense. So I think I am going to keep it for now, just because I don't have really any other loose highlighters, I guess besides the Jaclyn Hill one. But I'm going to keep it for now, get a little bit more use out of it, and then we'll see. And then as you can see, I have all these Becca highlighters. They're just minis, but I got the set of 4 that came in a holiday set one year. So I have those 4, and then I also got this, again, off of Poshmark from that little mini set of highlighters. So I am going to be keeping all of these. I haven't gotten too much use out of them, and I just want to get more use out of these. And I might end up decluttering a couple shades in the future. Like one of these I think is a little bit too deep for my skin tone, so I'm going to keep all of them for now, but I might end up decluttering some in the future. And then the last 2 products we have here are from Cover FX. These are the Custom Enhancer Drops. This one's in the shade Moonlight, which is a beautiful liquid highlight, and I'm definitely going to be keeping this. These are glitter drops. This came in a BoxyCharm, so I have just been keeping these just because for those special occasions when you... So these are the highlighters we ended up decluttering. The Benefit High Beam, and then 2 of the Wet n Wild highlighters in the shade Golden Flower Crown and Precious Petals, and then the e.l.f. highlight in the shade Blush Gems, and then the Wet n Wild Fergie Hollywood Boulevard highlight. So this is pretty good progress. I mean, I got rid of 5 products, so the same amount of blushes I got rid of. So that's 10 products in total, so that's still pretty good. We're making slow progress. So now for bronzers. As you can see, bronzers is my smallest category out of all of these. But I do have other bronzers also in face palette. So first I'm just going to start off with this one cream bronzer I have. Obviously it's the only cream bronzer I have, so I am going to keep it. My Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer I am also going to keep. I feel like I haven't gotten much use out of this. And then, of course, the Natasha Denona Bronze and Glow I'm going to keep. This is a bronzer and a highlighter. The highlighter is a bit too deep, but I do really love this bronzer. The Milani bronzer I'm also going to keep. I haven't gotten much use out of this. This is probably my newest bronzer in my collection. And then the other Milani bronzer, which is the Soleil Baked Bronzer, is currently in, I think, my stash. So I'm also going to keep this. This is more of a glowy, bronzy bronzer. Then I also have the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil, which is just a little mini sample size I got in a holiday set one year. So I'm definitely going to be keeping this. And then these Wet n Wild bronzers. This is the Color Icon bronzer in the shade, I don't know, but it's limited edition and it looks pretty deep, even though I think I could make it work for my skin tone, but I'm just going to declutter it. And then this bronzer from Wet n Wild in this shade Ticket to Brazil I actually really love, and it's a bit more glowy, so I'm definitely going to be keeping this one. And lastly, this Wet n Wild contouring palette, which comes with a bronzing shade and a sort of under eye powder highlighter. So this I got a very, very long time ago, and as you can see, I've barely ever used it. I don't remember liking the way this performed on my skin, and it is super old, so I'm just going to declutter it. So that's really it for bronzers. The only 2 I ended up decluttering are from Wet n Wild. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my bronzer collection right now, so I'm just going to keep it like this. So I'm going to show you a full overview of what we ended up decluttering, and then I'm going to reorganize everything back into this drawer. So we ended up getting rid of 5 blushes, 5 highlighters, and 2 bronzer products. So in total, that's 12. So I did do pretty good. I really didn't think I was going to end up decluttering this much, especially blushes. So there's actually a lot of room in this drawer right now, so that's kind of satisfying that it's not all cluttered in and there's barely any space. So yeah, this is it for my blush, highlighter, and bronzer declutter. So that's it for this video. Let me know what kind of videos you guys like to see, if you want declutter videos or more like tutorials, or you prefer project pans, or if you have any video suggestions, just let me know down below in the comments. Or if you have any questions about any of the products in today's video or in my collection, let me know and I'll be sure to respond to your questions down below. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And I do post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see more from me. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified every time I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.